Hello, everybody, and welcome to our special Thursday night presentation of Healing Seasonal Affective Disorder. I'm here with wonderful guests that we have with us today, and my very, very special co-presenter today, Miss Bonnie S. Dilley. How are you today, Bonnie?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy to see the people that came on, and there's lots of people that wanted a recording, so we'll get to them too.
Yep. So why don't we get started? We have a lot of information to give you, and save your questions, Stan, but we're going to be getting some housekeeping over at the other side. So let's hold on. I'll share my screen. Okay. So like I said, I'm Sheila Keilty. I have Bonnie Dilley with us too. We're talking about holistic solutions for seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD or SAD. And tonight we're going to talk about how to get ahead of your SAD this year. So to get started, a little housekeeping. Well, we might have some other people joining us, etc. Save your questions to the end of the presentation. We might answer it. There's so much information that we actually had to take out a whole bunch. We're giving so much information, but we're doing quite a bit. We might answer your question along the way, but at the end, there's a whole timing that we've done. So there's a good amount of questions that we can get to. If you're watching this in replay, go ahead and add your questions in the comments. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. And definitely stay tuned to the end of the presentation, because we have a very, very special offer to help you guys address all of your SAD symptoms and get ahead of it this year. So let's get started. To set us up, just a very quick disclaimer we have to do, but this presentation is not to be construed as medical advice or a treatment plan, and is not intended for general education purposes only. The information in this presentation is not to be used to self-diagnose or self-treat any health, medical, or physical condition. Don't use the information in this presentation to avoid going to your own healthcare professional or to replace the advice they give you. Consult with your healthcare professional before implementing anything related to the presented materials herein. Sheila Keilty, Bonnie S. Dilley make no representations about the accuracy or suitability of this content for you. So here we are tonight. Welcome, Bonnie. Bonnie is a very dear friend, and we were talking about seasonal affective disorder just late last week, and said, let's put something together. So many people starting to suffer. I can't believe it's October already tomorrow. But Bonnie is a holistic psychotherapist and RN, and her signature program is the Mindshift Transformation Institute that she helps people with. And just a little bit about Bonnie here. Bonnie Dilley is a holistic psychotherapist and RN, and addiction and certified EMDR trauma specialist, and the founder of the Madison Mind Body Health Academy. After 35 years of collective training in nursing, psychotherapy, addiction, PTSD, collaborative divorce, EMDR, aromatherapy, and nutrition, she found herself frustrated by the limitations of her profession. Bonnie has developed an integrative approach that addresses the needs of her clients who want solutions that meet their needs without years of psychotherapy and medications. Hence, the Mindshift Transformation Institute was born. This signature program produces fast results in healing trauma, empowering clients to gain insight and rewire their brain, and supports them to implement techniques that eliminate their barriers to mental wellness. Her clients achieve these results using the Mindshift Transformation Institute and its mental wellness toolkit that is individualized to each client based on their own goals and needs. She acts as passenger guide and coach on each client's journey to heal, gain insight, and implement strategies that work fast to empower her clients to step into a fulfilling life journey and become all they're meant to be.
Thank you so much, Sheila. That was such a lovely introduction. I would love to introduce Sheila. For those on here that know her, and for those that don't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sheila. She's an amazing holistic health and wellness coach who empowers women to reclaim their vitality and gain a lifetime of health and wellness naturally. She is a licensed and certified primal health coach and a master mindfulness instructor. Her special brand of coaching centers around the 80-20 rule. that what is on your plate is only 80% of the solution for permanent weight loss and metabolic health. The other 20% focuses on mindfulness, lifestyle shifts, and gentle movements to allow you to break free of the limits of the old ways of dieting. Her results-driven program, the Mind Body Reboot method, centers around one-to-one coaching, group programs, and education to help her clients gain a better relationship with their bodies. And something that some people don't know about Sheila, which is really amazing. Sheila not only coaches about health and wellness, she herself has lost over 120 pounds and has kept it off, and now dedicates her life to helping others to have the freedom and vibrant life that she is now able to enjoy.
Oh, thank you, Bonnie. That was very sweet. So thanks for joining us tonight. What we'll be covering is we're going to have a short quiz in the beginning, which comes up next. So if you have a piece of paper and a pencil, that would be great. What is SAD? The symptoms and characteristics, what works, what doesn't, a mental health toolkit, breathing techniques, mindfulness techniques, nutrition and lifestyle considerations, and some options that you can use to get some help this year. So give yourself 1 point for each yes. We're going to start off with a little evaluative quiz here. So do you have SAD? Number 1, does your depression only happen at a specific time of year, like in the fall or winter? If so, give yourself 1 point.
Number 2, does your depression go into full remission at a characteristic time of year? For example, spring.
Have you had at least 2 episodes of depressive disturbance in the previous 2 years?
4, do the seasonal episodes substantially outnumber the non-seasonal episodes?
Number 5, do you experience hypersomnia, which is oversleeping?
Number 6, do you experience insomnia, difficulty getting to sleep or staying asleep?
Number 7, do you have an overall noticeably increased appetite or weight gain during the fall and winter months?
Number 8, are you craving comfort foods, especially a craving for carbohydrates and sugar?
Do you have brain fog?
Number 10, do you have low libido or sex drive?
Number 11, are you feeling increased anger or irritability?
Number 12, are you withdrawn from your family or friends and self-isolating? If you scored 6 or more points, then you probably fit the criteria for SAD. If so, you may want to try putting some of these solutions we have in this presentation to good use. And if you're not currently seeing a professional for psychological or emotional health, we recommend that you may consider that as a part of your self-care this fall. If not, but still have a number of criteria checked, then you can put these solutions that we're going to be discussing into effect and can see an improvement this year and manage these symptoms. So let's talk about what is SAD, otherwise known as seasonal affective disorder. We're going to cover symptoms and then causes. Why is this happening? So the definition that is in the DSM is that this is a recurrent major depressive disorder, with a predictable seasonal pattern. Symptoms usually are experienced during the fall and winter months and then dissipate in the spring and summer months when the days are longer and there's more sunlight. There's a range of intensity from mild to severe. The quiz that you just took, maybe you can relate to some of these that I'm speaking of. A noticeable change in mood, low mood, or otherwise known medically as dysthymia, all the way to major depression. Don't feel like getting out of bed kind of depression. Weight gain, hormonal and increased carb sugar cravings, low energy or fatigue, sleeping more than usual or insomnia, anxiety, difficulty concentrating or brain fog. Might notice some increase in anger or irritability, lack of interest in activities that normally you would enjoy. I'm kind of hibernating like a bear is how I think of it. How bears hibernate in the winter, kind of withdrawn socially, just not really engaging. So many of those are things that people suffer from. SAD is not new, and it's been researched for many years. The exact mechanisms are not clearly known. However, this is what is believed to be going on. These are the things at play. There's reduced exposure because we have reduced exposure to sunlight. That is linked to shorter days of the year during and starting in the fall and during the winter months when our body has less exposure to natural sunlight. Another cause is that we've got this disruption going on in the delicate hormone chemical balance between the brain and the body. Decrease in serotonin, which is kind of your happy, hormone, and overproduction of melatonin are contributing factors. I'm going to go into those a little bit so people understand that. If we live in the Northern Hemisphere, pretty much many people are deficient in vitamin D. We don't get enough sun. Everybody has told us the sun is bad, you're going to get sun cancer, but we need the sun. It plays a critical role in our serotonin levels. So I'm going to go into this about the hypothalamus. So in this slide, you can see there's an arrow pointing. That is the hypothalamus is a part of your brain that regulates mood, sleep, and appetite. It's thought that light stimulates the hypothalamus and that lack of sunlight is causing a disruption of certain neurochemicals and transmitters in the brain, and that prevents the hypothalamus from working properly and causing imbalance of hormonal and neurotransmitters. The lack of sunlight can affect the production of the hormone melatonin and affect the production of serotonin, and it can disrupt our circadian rhythms, which is kind of like our internal time clock. So now let's talk about melatonin for a minute, the role that it plays. It's the hormone that affects sleep, produced by a small gland in your brain. If you look at the slide, there's an arrow pointing to the small little circle there. It's near the hypothalamus, and it's called the pineal gland. When it's light outside, the retina of the eye, the light-sensitive layer of the cells at the back of your eye, convert this light into an electric impulse that travels to the hypothalamus. In turn, the hypothalamus sends a message to the pineal gland and says, hey, produce less melatonin. During the fall and winter months, some individuals produce higher than normal amounts of melatonin due to residual natural sunlight. So hence feeling tired and sleepy and more fatigued and low energy. Serotonin, it's a neurotransmitter. I misspoke, I said hormone before. It's a neurotransmitter, and a neurotransmitter sends messages between the nerve cells. So this is like a domino effect. So think of a domino effect as I'm going through this. So less hours of sunlight means less serotonin is produced, which means lower than normal levels, which means decreased transmission to those nerve cells, which then creates symptoms described as depression and dysthymia, or low level depression, lack of energy, lack of interest in things, and that you would normally enjoy, and some of the other symptoms that we spoke of. So it's all kind of tied in. Now, let's talk about for a minute the circadian rhythm. That's like our internal clock. It's our body's 24-hour clock that is set by sunlight's hours in a day that fluctuates with the seasons and regulates our body functions. So this is why this is all happening, because it's out of whack. The body uses light from sun to time various important biological functions and regulation, mood or sleep or appetite, digestion, and energy levels. In lack of the sunlight, it disrupts the body's internal clock, which means that the symptoms of feeling off and dysregulated in, our patterns of sleep, etc., that's what's happening there. And it affects our mood and our energy. Now, this is really exacerbated. Sheila and I were talking about this, and she really pointed it out. And I like how she called it jet lag. It's like jet lag, like seasonal jet lag. Anybody ever had jet lag, they might relate to this. It's exacerbated by this daylight savings time. And there's been talk before about changing it, and they haven't. I wish they would. But it speeds up this clock 1 whole month in only a day. That is how it actually feels to your body. The body tries to compensate for this mess, this hormonal and chemical storm, through automatic coping mechanisms. It's always trying to be in homeostasis. So how does it do that? Well, we're craving more carbohydrates and things like that because it's wanting more serotonin to self-correct. So part of the reason that we're here is I was sharing my story with Sheila, and Sheila's, we both agreed we're both holistic providers. We should address this because so many people are experiencing this. So as I reflect back on my life, going back to 12 years old, or maybe even earlier, I always hated winter. I had no understanding at the time of why, because I was a kid. I just knew that I didn't feel myself. And I dreaded the winter holidays and the disruption of school and routine. And I couldn't wait till that was over. And it wasn't until my 30s that I really started to pay attention and track this. And I became aware that these symptoms that I was experiencing, kind of low-level depression and not wanting to do anything and weight gain and all of it, that they were connected to this whole seasonal, happened in the fall. I could almost tell you exactly when it would start. It would be like that as the days were getting shorter. I noticed as the end of February would come around in March that I was feeling more like myself again. And I was like, yes, I'd wake up early. It just seemed like I had an automatic clock. Well, I do have an automatic clock like everybody else. And I would wake up early and hear the birds and things like that. And my mood was gradually changing. I became aware of this change in my circadian rhythm and sleep patterns. And I was very sensitive to this and the abrupt changes, especially on the fall side of things. I saw a therapist who helped me understand depression and said, yeah, you're depressed. And taught me some skills, which were very useful. But it really didn't change my biochemistry in any way. And it was recommended to me, you might want to try an SSRI. And at the time, Prozac was on Time magazine. That was the latest new antidepressant that was going to solve the world's problem for people who had depression. So I resisted for a long time. I really wanted, what else? And unfortunately, nobody offered me anything else, which is why I'm so passionate about this. The medication did help me, so don't get me wrong, but it comes with side effects as well. And then it's very difficult to get off it. So when I started learning about holistic alternative solutions, I questioned why no healthcare providers were talking about this. And after then many years going back to school and continuing education, reviewing scientific research and about non-pharmaceutical approaches, I tried them and, were recommending them. They made a tremendous difference in my life. And so I share that information with others and tonight with you. So going from that, I created something which I call in my mental wellness toolbox. But prior to digging into that for just a moment, I want to say that the most important thing that I learned in trial and error and every year, I'm now 63, is starting early. It would be too late for me. I started a week and a half ago, just as, when they said, oh, it's first day of fall, I'm already on it because it makes a difference getting ahead of this. And that is why we are like on here now. The other thing is that consult with your healthcare provider. And, ultimately, I like to empower people because they're the best at knowing themselves. Somebody just tries to slough you off, just, be your best advocate for yourself. There's no one size fits all solutions. And we all have a unique genetic makeup and metabolic makeup. But with all the experience, I'm going to be highlighting the ones in the toolbox that have worked best. And Sheila will be doing some deeper dives into some of those. Getting ahead of it. I can't emphasize it enough. Getting outside, moving your body, however you move your body. Moving your body is always going to be, and it doesn't mean you have to do aerobic exercise and stuff like that. It just, move. It increases circulation and things like that. Sleep. So for me personally, sleep is everything. And I think that if people discount the value and the need that we have for really good sleep, so important to everything. I leave all blue light stuff, cut it off. I became very disciplined about it because I'll tell you, it makes a big difference. You want to quiet your brain down in the evening. You want to try your best. So aromatherapy, therapeutic grade essential oils, having your bedroom be a sanctuary, make it a Zen place, look forward to, like, this is peace. This is where I get to let my mind just relax. Meditation in the morning, meditation before you go to bed, if you practice affirmations. And nutrition, Sheila's going to do a deep dive on that. Eating healthy is also, food is medicine, guys. So for me personally, I recommend yoga because it incorporates a lot of things, relaxation and breathing and all kinds of stuff. But as you can see on that slide, there's other things there too. Avoiding alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant, other substances that are not helping you and can exacerbate symptoms. And then making time for something you enjoy. So even when you don't feel like doing something, a creativity using the other part of your mind. Mine, for me, it's art, it's music. Those things stimulate me. Engaging with friends, joining a support group. And what I added to my toolkit this year, I did vitamin D. So ask your provider if you suffer from these, to have your vitamin D level checked and B12. You can't know. And so you don't want to just go taking something and not know. Maybe you don't have a deficiency. So that information is critically important. And then I added, people have devices. So I know my sister has this Apple Watch. I just got an Android one. It's amazing what the technology can do. It checks your oxygenation, it tracks your sleep, it tracks the quality of your sleep, checks your heart rhythm. I mean, it's really kind of unbelievable. BMI, EKG, I mean, it's really something else. And then there are apps. Sheila will be mentioning some of those. But there's one app that I added this year. It's from Healthy Minds Institute from Madison, Wisconsin. It's free, but they do ask for donations. It's really a groundbreaking app that teaches you how to meditate, teaches you mindfulness, and then tracks your progress over time. So it's very cool. And people want to know about it, we can get you a list later of different things. Oh, and a light box. I don't know how I missed the lights. So I have a tower garden, grow my own food, and it has LED lights. So the light box has been very helpful, and insurance usually covers that. If I missed anything, I'll get back to you, but I want to turn it over to Sheila.
I'm going to be sharing with you the practicing of daily mindfulness and the importance that it has in dealing with seasonal affective disorder. Now, there's a lot of confusion about what mindfulness is and what it can do for you. You don't have to sit on a beach in a meditation pose like this guy or anything. It's something you can do quietly and internally for yourself. And it's a wellness habit, and it's called a practice because you could practice for the rest of your life and never become an expert in it. But when you add it to your daily practice, it's a way of finding an inward look at your current existence, of being present in the moment and looking for simply a 10% shift in your perception. That's all it takes to disrupt the stopping looking backwards, which is depression, where depression lives, and stop worrying about things that haven't happened yet, which is anxiety, and then focusing on the moment and looking at it with curiosity and non-judgment and with some self-compassion. And that looks like this. If something stressful is going on, it's as simple as, rather than reacting to it, which everybody on the planet does, you take a beat and you say, that's interesting. Why am I feeling that way? And just that stopping and being compassionate towards yourself and figuring out why that's happening can make all the difference in the level of cortisol that's expressed and how much anxiety and a hormone storm you cause in your body. So different ways to do it. Like I said, that internal conversation, that, I wonder what's going on with that feeling. I wonder why I'm feeling that way. Then there's practicing self-compassion. And that's something that a lot of us work on. We're not really kind to ourselves, and just taking a moment to give ourselves a break. I mean, we talk about compassion towards other people, but we have to be compassionate to ourselves as well. We can also focus on the breath, and that allows us, it's been scientifically proven that when you take an intentional breath in and press it out of your body through your mouth, that focuses your mind. If you think just of the breath, it jingles the keys enough for your brain that you're not off and running in a stressor crisis. And you can also use affirmations. Now, what affirmations are, they're different than a mantra, in that it's a statement of daily intention, and it's spoken in the current present tense in a positive way, in an as-if statement. For example, you would not say, I'm not going to be an idiot and go into debt today. Today, I'm not going to have debt. I'm not going to use my credit cards. I am going to be mindful of my money. Instead, it would say simply, I am mindful of my money today. So in that way, if money's a stressor for you, for instance, that's one that you can use, and you don't invite the negative things into that discussion. Now, if you're not real great at coming up with your own meditations, and a lot of beginners need some help getting into that state of mind that allows you to calm down and relax, do a body scan, do a breath work, whatever. There are a lot of apps out there that can really help you. And one of the ways that apps are most helpful, and the way mindfulness is most helpful besides stress reduction, is getting a good night's sleep. It is an incredible way to enter a sleeping state, because you've eliminated the cortisol storm in your body and get much better sleep state, much better adherence to circadian rhythm, all of it. So some of the apps that I recommend all have free versions and pay versions. There's no reason to do the pay version. One's called Calm. We all know that one. It's been out on TV and everything. Oh, yeah. There's another one called Insight Timer. It's a really ding dong name for it. I know Insight, but what's with the timer? I don't know where the origin of that is, but it's an incredible way to meditate with everyone around the world, with international voices, all different languages, but there are literally hundreds of thousands of professionally recorded guided meditations in every possible area. It's incredible. And a new one that just came out called 10% Better, which talks about that inward shift of 10%. So if you haven't had luck guiding your own meditations, listen to a story. It's basically listen to a story about floating through a cloud. It really is very relaxing. Now, the next pillar of support for SAD is nutritional support. Now, I'm a big believer, and I've seen it work over and over again with all different kinds of people and all different health levels, that, like Bonnie said, food is medicine. We've gotten away from that. We've synthesized our food. So in nutritional support, the key is nutrient density, so that the food is super dense with the nutrients that you need, like these wonderful choices off to the right here. So vitamin D rich foods are like fatty fish, salmon, tuna, sardines, rainbow trout. The foods that are rich also in omega-3 fatty acids are very similar to those as well. If you don't eat fish, there's also flaxseed, hemp, walnut oils. Berries are loaded with antioxidants to help clear away the junk in your body. And they're actually surprisingly not high in sugar, which we're going to be talking about. Now, foods that are also rich in folic acid, like leafy greens and sunflower seeds and other kinds of seeds like pumpkin seeds and so forth, they are wonderful for supporting nutrient density. And you want to look at non-processed whole foods, because sourcing is very important. And sourcing is as important as what you eat. So it's not just lamb to have lamb, like you see these little lammy and sheep up here. Now, everybody knows the saying, you are what you eat, but you're also what your food eats. So if these lammies are going back to the barn and they're eating GMO corn and that's laden with chemicals and all kinds of additives and hormones, well, guess what you're eating? GMO corn, additives, chemicals, and all kinds of inflammatory chemicals that are coursing through the animal's body because of this horrible food that they get. You don't want to take that in. You're trying to fight that off yourself. So the nutrient-dense food, the ones that are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, are going to be from the grass that they're running around on. You just eat what God intended them to eat. So the sourcing is very important. Now, the one good thing that came out of COVID that I have found for me in my practice with my clients is that sourcing really great, good forms of meat and vegetables used to be very expensive. But since so many restaurants were not working and farms had to get their product out to somewhere to be consumed, there are now dozens of different ways that we can have great, wonderfully nutrient-dense foods that are well-sourced delivered right to our door. So that's something that we can put in the resources, Bonnie. We'll make that one of the things that people can have.
Yeah.
So that'd be great. So foods you can avoid or should avoid are sugary, processed product. Now, as good as that chocolate bar and those donuts look and the Chinese food behind there, these are sugary foods. Now, remember we said with seasonal affective disorder that you crave sugar. Well, the reason you crave sugar, which carbohydrates turn into glucose in your system, it's all sugar. It raises all the dopamine and serotonin and everything. It's all the feel goods come out of comfort food. Literally is, give me some serotonin and dopamine. It will comfort me. It's perfectly named. But you don't want to have processed food that are versions of real whole foods. You don't want processed, simple, and refined carbohydrates. You want whole, good foods. So the next pillar is lifestyle support. You got to bring the right toolkit, just like Bonnie's toolkit. And that's one powerful toolkit. You don't want to open up your toolkit and have Band-Aids, silly putty, and some flip-flops. You want every power tool in the box that you can bring to it, all the education you can bring to it to give yourself the right kind of support. So one of the ways you can support lifestyle is to really honor your circadian rhythm and get the best sleep of your life if you do so. So let's talk morning routine. So establish a good sleep schedule that follows the sun as much as possible for sleeping and waking. Include light exposure first thing in the morning, either by waking up and going right to your window and looking out the window, whether it's cloudy or not, you're going to get enough sunlight to activate that retina, to drop your melatonin, raise your cortisol, and get yourself up out of bed. Or you can use the light box in the same way that Bonnie had talked about. But you can also coordinate with breath work, affirmations, and get your circulation going. And that will also get your hormones pumping early in the day. And then your evening routine. Need as much blue light as possible in the evening hours. And by blue light, Bonnie and I mean our screens. And back in the day, there wasn't all of this seasonal affective disorder. We had candlelight. We didn't have all this fake sunlight at our fingertips. But there are ways to balance that and do that in the evening. Now, some people really require melatonin or they've been prescribed it. What I have found is that these other approaches of producing your own melatonin and getting it to work and using the different tools are far better ways to deliver melatonin to you than taking the supplements that are non-regulated and sometimes have very, odd sourcing that they come from. So if you are prescribed it, absolutely follow what your doctor says, but get the right kind of sourcing, the right kind of supplements. For me, it's like throwing a cotton ball at my head. Melatonin just did not work. But there's some other strategies, such as these sleep schedules and the light exposure. But there's also, for instance, glasses, which we'll put on this resource list, that are very inexpensive. And they kind of look like the rocker that has the orange sunglasses on it. The Irish guy has orange. They're kind of like those orange sunglasses. And there are certain ones that are made that are blue light cutters that make your mind think that you are watching a sunset, and it kicks all your serotonin and goes, time for sleep. I have clients that put on those glasses and start yawning right away. It's like it is a melatonin inducer that's far more than would survive your stomach acid with a pill. So why not use those kind of strategies? That's that holistic approach. Use your schedules, use your type of lighting, and get a nighttime ritual together. So the other part of the toolkit is a primal lifestyle that supports a way of conquering your carb addiction. Carbohydrates are just as addictive. Sugar is just as addictive as hormone and cocaine combined. So one of the ways in a primal lifestyle that we help support this conquering of your carb addiction is getting fat adapted, which means you get into enough regular ketosis that your body turns from burning carbs to burning ketones, which are made from your fat. The average American has over 100,000 stored fat excess calories available to burn. So there's plenty of fuel in there. And there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. There are essential amino acids and essential fatty acids, but there are no essential carbohydrates. Now, our body does need 30 grams of carbohydrates a day to have our brain function, but our liver is endowed with an ability through gluconeogenesis, which literally means make new sugar, from our stores of sugar in our body that we have. So if we don't take in tons of carbohydrates with sugary foods, our body will still produce what we need. So when we're talking about seasonal affective disorder, we want to conquer that carb addiction so our bodies don't crave all those sugars and create all those bad storms. We can lower our carbs for fat elimination and maintenance. It's a little bit different. And I teach my clients how to do intermittent fasting, which is timed eating. All of these things, the fat adaptation, the carb limitation, and the intermittent fasting work together to absolutely shatter that carb addiction. Primal rule number 4 is daily sun exposure on your skin. Now, the sun has been wrongly vilified. You actually don't, if you don't get enough sun, you can cause cancers, including skin cancer. And it is also free unlimited vitamin D. Now, first of all, vitamin D is not a vitamin. It's a hormone that's produced in your skin. And if you expose your skin directly to sunlight, you get unlimited vitamin D on tap. Now, if you are low on vitamin D, and again, Bonnie said this, but I'm telling you, if you don't get tested for vitamin D with your doctor and you need to ask for it, please do. The right doctors, if you have a good one, they'll know to do it. But if you're suffering with sad symptoms, get the test done, find out if you're low, use the right kind of sublingual versions, and we'll put that in the resources, Bonnie, about what that is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get out for around 15 to 20 minutes a day of sun on your skin, most people will get enough vitamin D, pure vitamin D, right into their body without it getting killed in your stomach or your gut. And it will help your neurotransmitters, your heart health, melatonin production, immunity support, and muscle health. So what's next? What comes next after we've told you all of these things? Take a breath here. So how can we get you the support you need now?
So a challenge for you. After hearing everything that you've heard, are you ready to take the first step and learn what's possible for you? Are you ready to invest in yourself now? Because it's already October 1st. Yeah.
Think what it would be like if you did not have to suffer through the change of seasons this year. or you experienced fall winter days filled with joyful activities instead of dread and depression. If you could have mind-body health balance to successfully manage your anxiety levels and foods you eat this time of year. If you could get a good night's sleep every night, or could avoid weight gain or even lose weight during the holidays this year. Wouldn't that be a gas? But how would it be for you if you didn't take care of this and spend yet another season in dread of time changes, depression, and out of control weight gain, or any of the other symptoms you identified in your quiz? So our solution kit for SAD sufferers has a 3-part tool to it. We put together a special survey, kind of along the lines of the quiz you took in the beginning, just a few more details. And Bonnie and I will review those answers and construct a possible solution kit just for you. Then we'll set up a time for you to chat with Bonnie and or Sheila and meet via Zoom and review your answers and discuss possible custom solution options. And then you can go on to have greater enjoyment of the fall winter months, proactively following your plan and getting ahead of SAD this year and every year to come. So this is the link that we're talking about. This HTTPS is the link. We'll show it again at the end as well, but if you can write it down, it takes about 2 minutes. Wouldn't you say, Bonnie, to do that whole quiz?
Yeah.
It's real quick, check off the box kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of individual answers that really is
Right.
specific to your own symptomology and what your biggest struggles are.
And we're calling time on this on October 10th, not because it's a random number that we picked out, but really it's getting late. It's already, we should have thought of this weeks ago, but we had just brought it up, which is why we got it right out to you in a very short period of time. But we're going to have a cutoff of October 10th. So if you'd like to have some help or know someone else that, like your sister, your brother, or your cousin or your husband suffer with, it doesn't have to be women, you know, it's women and men, anybody. We'd like to give them the help that they need. So we're going to open it up here to some questions. See who's got some questions here. You're back on screen, everybody.
Okay. And, you know, before questions, you know, I guess I would like to know what was meaningful to you out of what you heard this evening. If you've heard something that, like, I didn't know that before, or gee, I think I might want to try that, share with us. We'd love to hear from you.
It reminds me of a lady that I took care of who suffered bipolar depression. And she was one of my residents, and we knew when the seasons was changing, she was going to change and her bipolar was going to change. And so we tried to do everything we could to help her, you know, get through the time. But unfortunately at that time, you know, 10 years ago, we didn't know about this. And had we known about this, you know, we could have got her the proper, you know, guidance and help. But yeah.
These kind of holistic approaches were not available even 5 years ago. A lot of people weren't doing them, but this is why we want to bring it out. This is how Bonnie and I live. And we're like, we take for granted that we know these things, but we want other people to know these things as well, because some of them are so simple to do, but so profound. A shift for you.
And to not be on some of the heavy duty medications too makes a huge difference, because, you know, once somebody gets on those heavy duty medications that cause all the different side effects, physicians always want to throw new medications at you to control your side effects.
That's right. And then it becomes like a snowball effect.
Oh,
and I was raised up in that. Yeah. You know, as a medical provider, you know, as a nurse, you know, everything was about pharmacology. And I got to tell you that when I asked, like, hey, I'd like to get off, you know, my doctor was like, well, you'll probably suffer, you know, like as if there was nothing else. And so both Sheila and I are really passionate about sharing what we know, at least allow people to decide, you know, give people the information, empower them to make their own decisions, partner with them.
And Bonnie and I both very much agree, and we have butt heads on different ideas and everything. We feel very passionately about these things. But we both very much agree that we are in no way telling you to not do what your doctor says to do, or, they say this is hooey or that's hooey. That's not it at all. It's ask the questions, try the holistic methods. If they work and you can save yourself from taking a bunch of medications, yay. But medications when they are needed and supplements when they are needed, take them. You don't have to, you don't have to suffer.
Absolutely.
But if you
it's not
can, for instance, if you're one of the people for whom melatonin is resolved by using those glasses or the light box or whatever, yay, then that's one less thing you have to take. Or if someone can get all their folic acid that they need to support circadian rhythms through leafy green vegetables, yay. It's worth trying these things. And Bonnie and I both, client after client after client, we see these things working for them in a big way.
Yeah.
And you don't have to just plan on gaining weight every year through the holidays. It doesn't have to be that way. So anyway, hi, Jan. Are you there? Did you have any questions, or what did you find most interesting in the presentation today?
It's kind of reinforcement of things that I kind of know, but like putting all the items together in the so-called toolbox, it just really makes sense. Sleep is my biggest problem. It's like I dread going to bed at night because I just know I'm not gonna,
That's one of the biggest things I
Sleep.
work on with clients, because
Yeah.
you can't even lose weight if you're not sleeping. You gain weight if you don't sleep. It's just all connected.
And it's like, I dread it because I know, I'm not going to get a decent full night's sleep. But also, let's just face it, as an older person, I mean, it happens. I mean, I have to get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom.
Yes, as you get older, but I'm saying, if my 84-year-old mom can do it,
your bladder isn't
and Kathy knows about my mom, she knows that's a huge hill to climb.
to get well, and also,
So it's all boats rise with getting better sleep. It's kind of the chicken and the egg, which one came
Yeah.
first. But if you need help with that, that's something we could definitely help you with.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. It's hard. You're talking about eliminating. I mean, like, that's my relaxation at 7:00 at night, and the things, the blue light. I mean, that's when I enjoy television. That's start going through some of my emails. Start doing so.
So long as you have about an hour, everybody has a different time. Like for Bonnie, it might be 7. For you, it might be 9. It depends on when you go to sleep. Like you need at least an hour or 2 before you go to sleep to have all those systems calm down from the blue light.
Now, can you read? I mean, is that
Absolutely, you can read.
Okay. I mean, because I read different things about a doctor gave me. Oh no, you shouldn't be reading in bed. Well, where else?
Why couldn't you read in bed? Oftentimes,
I'm just telling you, there was a list of the things that my doctor.
Interesting.
Who I'm talking about. I mean, she that was the thing, was with sleep. I mean, she encouraged the exercises are doing is fine, but she also encouraged what you said: get outside and do movement at least for 20 minutes with nature and everything else.
Yeah.
But besides the blue light, and all that stuff, it was on the note that I got is don't sleep in bed. Now, I don't know why.
Oh, don't read in bed? I don't know why either.
Well, you wouldn't want to read a screen in bed. Like, don't read from a computer in bed, but reading a book in bed is fine.
Book could be okay.
Yeah.
A paper, okay.
Yeah,
so
paper would be
avoid
fine.
the blue. Well, maybe, I don't know. I didn't read all the instructions after I got home, so I couldn't question. So
Okay.
Or audio. I love audiobooks before I go to sleep.
Yeah, Kathy's a big audiobook gal. She gives me the
Okay.
best titles to listen to. And that's also another way to quiet your brain, is to they're beautifully narrated now. There's some great books out there, and it's very inexpensive. to do. So that's a great thing. We'll
Especially
make
if
that
it's
one of our
something,
resources.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sheila, those glasses. So like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to.
there are these, you said yellow.
It's either
There's
yellow
also-
or red or orange. They work different ways for different people. But who is that rocker I'm thinking of that puts on the color? He's Irish and there's
I wanna-
3 of them.
Bono?
Bono. He puts on those, you look
Oh,
like
yeah,
Bono at
right,
night. Yeah,
right,
thank you,
right,
Kathy. I knew you'd know that. But you look like Bono at night. But Caroline, our friend Caroline, she works on European time and she's out here in the Pacific. She'd have to get up at 3 a.m. every day. She was getting the worst night's sleep, but she has 2 little kids. She started wearing those orange glasses and immediately starts yawning and is asleep in 10 minutes and
Yeah.
sleeps through the night. So
we'll
Is
put a
there a
resource
name for
list.
them that, we couldn't
they're
buy
blue
them?
light glasses, but we will have it in the resource list with a link to Amazon for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Amazon has a wide range of varieties and styles. Anywhere from, I found a pair for 17. all the way
Yeah,
up
they're
to-
inexpensive. You look like Yoko Ono or Bono or something, you look real hip.
Okay.
But they
Yeah.
work. And if that brings up all your melatonin, and again, it imitates your circadian rhythm. So you're like putting on a sunset and your body goes, sunset.
Yeah.
It works.
Once my husband retires and his work phone stops ringing at night, it's
Mhm.
amazing.
When does he retire, Kathy?
December 16th is his last day.
Tell
So
Pete
no
hi.
no more work phone going off all hours of the
Uh,
night. Yay.
Goodness, yay.
I don't know if that's
Well,
gonna feel like,
does
but-
anybody have any other questions from the presentation? Or about SAD in any way, or something we didn't cover, or?
About the light box, that too interests me. What is
Okay.
there a brand or?
Yeah. I'll put that on the resource list too. There are, so they're not all equal and there are certain things. And then the one thing I didn't get, because I, was talking and ran out of time, but how you use it. So everybody's different, right? So the recommendation is 10 minutes in the morning, or all the way from, or 20 minutes actually, all the way up to 2 hours. I wouldn't go 2 hours. I would start on the lesser side and then, but talk about it with your doctor. Insurance often covers it too, because it's been, it's considered an approved research tool. But you want certain rays that, so you do want to get the right, right one. So I will give in the resource list, so you can link right onto it. And Janet, I use my tower garden. So I'm growing the food and then I just go into the dining room and that's it. So it's a double whammy in that grow my own food hydroponically.
It has
And
that
get the
sunlight
light.
on it, right?
It has a light kit on the top of it. And it looks like a spider kind of, like there's 4 of these wands coming down.
Oh, I need a picture
The
of
whole,
this.
my neighbors come. Oh, like what's going on over there at my house? Yeah, I'll take a picture, Sheila. You might
Definitely,
want-
because I live in an apartment. I think that would be blast.
Oh, yeah. you
But
can-
in the morning, if you don't have a light box and if it's light out when you wake up, literally going over to the window and opening your eyes and looking out in the sunlight and really like getting your eyes penetrated with light, that works great. But some people, wake up before it gets light and they have to be awake, and what that will do is imitate the sun for you. Some people use it throughout the day, but you shouldn't use it too late in the day because it keeps you all
It
jazzed
can
up.
stimulate
Yeah.
you, yeah. And for those, there are people that have mood disorders where they, it could induce mania, hypomania. So for people that have a bipolar disorder or mood disorder, you definitely want to be doing this under the care of your provider.
Yes.
But if you don't have that, you don't really need to worry about that. But if you do it late, it will stimulate, it's really meant to help you. So you want to make it maximize its benefit. Yeah. It works very well.
Mhm.
I have a friend
like
in
I-
Alaska who has one.
Yeah, Alaska is a perfect example. They don't have that much light at all. And when I moved from Los Angeles to Portland, it doesn't get light till 9 o'clock in the morning. It starts sunrise at 9, and
Oh.
it gets dark at 3:30 in the afternoon. We're
Really?
very north, and it was like that. I had to get used to it too. And that was a very hard, the first year was very, very hard. It gets very bleak, but I got used to it now. And it's like, this is what I do. So if you get up and there is light, if you don't own a light box, just go open your eyes and look outside. You know, you're going to get all the natural sunlight in the world. But if you live in an area where you don't have that, like if I had to get up at 6 a.m. to go to work and it's dark out, that's very depressing for a lot of people.
It's
You can use that light.
yeah, that used to get me.
Yeah, because that kicks in all of the hormones needed to wake you up and make your serotonin balance. Just it balances you out to get that light and sets you up for the day. Like it's like your retinal cup of coffee, you know, to get you going for the day. And if you don't have that, you droop around for the day. It's really hard. All right. Well,
This was
you
very informative. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to flash the screen and I'm going to go back over to the screen that has the link on it so that anybody watching or anybody, you know, for you gals or people watching in replay.
Or you can share this with other
Or
people.
you can share it with
that
other
you know.
people and let them know that this is there. But let me just move it ahead. Here is the link that we need to have to go to that survey, the questionnaire that we have, where we can then take a look at it and come up with some solutions that might work for you. And again, it takes like 2 minutes, but share that with anybody you know that's having a problem. That's a bit.ly link on there. Just copy it down. And that's 3A0. That's not a O, that's a 0 FXEU. And that will be available through October 10th. All
That's
right. Well,
great.
thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us this evening and spending this time with us. I hope we're able to help some people get some answers that they need for seasonal affective disorder and get ahead of it this year. Bonnie, thank you so much for presenting with me tonight. It was so
thank
special.
you.
Thank you very much. I learned a lot and I appreciate the
Okay.
information.
All right,
All right.
ladies, take
Good
care.
night. Thank you
Okay,
so
bye.
much.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.